Welcome to the Infertility Feelings podcast. I'm sorry, I have a cold, but I'm feeling better and I'm so happy and honored to be here with you all. But you know that part of the cold where it's over and it's like ending and then you just sound like you have a cold? So I'm sorry. I hope no one is annoyed by a little bit of a nasally sound.
I think you sound great.
Does it make my voice more like
yes.
punchy?
Oh yeah.
Punchy.
Yes.
Punchy. That's definitely what I want. That's what I want, especially for the topic today that we're going to talk about. It's National Infertility Awareness Week 2026. If you're listening to this at Thanksgiving in 2028, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. I always like saying that. I don't know why I always love saying it. I think it's because I listen to podcasts like in the most bizarre order that they'll be like, it's something. And I'll be like, oh, what? And I'll be like, oh, they recorded this episode like 8 months ago. Got it. But what we're talking about today is we're going to answer this question is why is infertility so hard to make people aware of?
Yes.
Why is it so hard to like break that glass ceiling of being able to talk to people and make it aware, like just make infertility aware. Like there are other just as sad, just as hard things that get so much advocacy and feel like it's easier to talk about in the world. But infertility is not. And I just like, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to educate the world and make people more aware of it?
Why is it so hard to make people aware of infertility?
Yes.
I feel like we could speak firsthand about this because this is a huge thing of what we do.
Well, I hope so, because we're here.
The nonprofit Uniquely Knitted that puts on this podcast is we do awareness. We try to talk about infertility everywhere we go. We try to go on podcasts. We try to go to universities, to clinics, to hospitals, everywhere. Even
in like Trader Joe's, the guy will be like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, well, here it is. Right.
We try to talk about infertility everywhere all the time. And it always feels like it's struggling to get out there. You know? Maybe IVF, maybe things like that are starting to break into the mainstream a little bit. Our specific world of infertility and mental health feels like it has work to do. Why is it so hard for us to talk about infertility?
Yeah.
It's so common. 1 in 6 people.
Right.
1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage. Like when you're going through infertility, you are clearly struggling with something.
Right.
Like life is hard when you're going through infertility and we don't want to talk about it. Yeah. We do. Yeah. But as a whole, world, we're still catching up, I would say.
And
we're still catching up.
Is it more talked about than it was 10 years ago? Yes.
Sure.
Is it more talked about than it was 20, 50 years ago? Yes. But there still is this thing where it's just really hard to make people aware.
Yeah. And then I think the most obvious thing that people would say is, well, the people who are struggling should just talk about it more. Good one.
Right. Thanks for that.
That's not a good response.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the people who are going through it should advocate more. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard to do.
They're also going through something really hard.
Yes. Right. And I think we know why. I just claimed that. But I think we have some guesses. Like you have top 4 things. I have 4 things of like, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to make people more aware of this? Like, I think we've a little bit figured it out.
Yeah. Would you say we nailed it?
Nailed it.
Come along with us on this journey. Why can't infertility break that awareness glass ceiling? We're going to talk about it right now. We're snapping.
Why is it so hard? I want to answer this question. This is the question I'm wanting to answer. Why is it so hard to make the world more aware of infertility? See what I did there? Infertility Awareness Week, aware.
I like that.
And Infertility Awareness Week, aware. Why is it so hard to make people aware? And I think this is in no particular order. This is just the first 4 things that popped into my brain. And there's more. This is not like we're going to cover every single thing of why it's hard. But this is my top 4 reasons in no particular order. Number 1, it has to do with sex.
Are you saying that the world doesn't like to talk about sexual things?
It's not very comfortable. And I'll tell you when it's really not comfortable. Whoever your partner is, going to that partner's family and talking about your sex life.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Right.
No, thank you. No,
it's like
thanks.
sitting down at the dinner table and be like, so me and your son were having sex the other day.
Yeah. Yes. Anything. Like, I just like it just has to do with something that is very intimate. So not only is infertility just intimate in itself, the act of what you're trying to do to have a baby is very intimate. And when someone just naturally gets pregnant on the first month,
you can almost kind of not think about the sex.
Yes. You're not thinking about the sex.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about, even like if you're doing treatment, you're having to do a sperm like sample. You're having to get like the wand. Like it all has to do with penises and vaginas. Like it's just awkward.
Even when you said that, it made me laugh, which is what we're talking about.
Yes, it shouldn't be.
Right.
Because that's a part of our bodies, but it is. It just is. And so I think that, and exactly what you said of like, when someone just gets pregnant month 1, whatever, and you see them walking down the street, you're not thinking like, sex had something to do with this.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I don't. Maybe some people do, but like I don't. But when it comes to infertility, it's like you have to almost bring that part into it.
Yeah.
And that is just awkward. That is just awkward. Your father-in-law. Something like that's just awkward. It's just awkward to bring up.
You think it hurts the awareness aspect?
Yeah, because you have to deal with that.
Right.
Which is super awkward.
Right.
I'm not saying any of these things are like wrong or bad. I'm trying to validate that it's like, this is why I think of why it's hard. And I'm not trying to say like, and the infertility community should change all these things. Because I think it's like, it's both and. It's the world being completely uneducated about it.
Yeah.
And but I'm giving sympathy to the infertility community of like, this is why it's so hard.
Yeah.
To make the world even aware of this, because it has to do with talking about sex to your father-in-law, potentially. Ew. Good God, ew.
I think that is a huge reason why it doesn't get through the awareness ceiling, if that makes sense. Like, why is it struggle to kind of break through?
Right.
Is because it's already a topic that people don't really want to talk about in general. Maybe, you know, like it's just uncomfortable to be like, yeah. I think that's exactly why. It's a huge reason why it doesn't come up in conversation. Like imagine like where you would end up talking about that. Like maybe in like a counseling office or a therapist office, but like at dinner, when you're out at dinner, like, you know, when you're like going on a walk or something, it's just like, it doesn't naturally come up. You know what I mean?
Right.
We've been having a ton of sex and we're trying to get pregnant and it hasn't been working yet.
Yeah.
So like, we're going to get a sperm sample. Like all those things, like they're just our world has not like gotten comfortable with them.
Right.
And
Right. Which is not the infertile's fault.
No.
It's just as culture of the world, we're just uncomfortable. And yes, you probably wouldn't talk about the act of doing sex with your father-in-law.
Oh God.
Sorry. Please cut that out.
Your face.
Oh God. I don't know if I'll recover. Forgive me. That's not what I meant. Like the act of doing it, probably with another person. I can't win. It's just, I'm not saying that the details of sex would come up, but it just has something to do with it. It just has something, it's in the air of it.
You don't need to make it more complicated. Infertility has to do with sex.
It's hard.
Who wants to talk about sex with our families? You know, like your brother.
I don't.
Like, talk about your brother and you're like, yeah, so we've been trying. It's like, oh, okay. And you're like, what more do you say?
Okay, Doug, what's yours?
One of the things that I feel like is a huge reason why it's hard to raise infertility awareness.
Yeah.
Why are people not aware of it?
Yeah.
And like a huge reason of understanding it is that I, for one, did not want to talk about infertility when I was in the middle of it, you know?
Which is very apropos you with any problem.
But very specifically, I felt like this is going to be hard to explain, but maybe I can do it. Hopefully well. Because of the lack of awareness, I didn't want to raise awareness about it because I knew that I was going to be hit with a lack of awareness. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It was almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was like, no one knows about this. And am I going to be the one to bring up this thing that no one knows about? And then now I'm going to have to be educating and raising awareness while I'm also trying to just like let people in with where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like if you were like, I was actually probably more likely to talk about anxiety or even depression, just to be like, I've just been feeling anxious lately. People are like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
But if it's like, yeah, because Jesse and I've been trying to get pregnant for 2 years, then they're like, oh my gosh. And now you're in this like unfamiliar territory where they're like, well, what have you been doing? And you're like, well, we're doing IVF. And now you're talking about sex.
Right.
And we're doing IVF or something like that. And they're like, oh, are you cool with that? And you're like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like, what do I do with that statement? Or am I cool with IVF? Like, yeah, of course I'm doing it. Like, what are you trying to say? And what do you think IVF is? And they're like, oh, isn't that like the thing where you like buy embryos from someone? You're like,
good God, no. That's one thing. Yeah, no,
like,
right.
Yeah, I've heard like weird stories about that. And you're like, now I'm having to educate you and train you. And because there's no lack of awareness, it kept me not wanting to talk about it.
Would you say that it probably, those comments would make you more anxious?
They would definitely make me more anxious. Yeah, it would make
So you want to avoid because you're like, I don't want to be more anxious. I already am anxious.
Yeah. And I would feel like I needed to have a good answer, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's why I was like, I'll just wait until I'll tell them what happened like a year ago. Cause I feel more settled about that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like if I were to try to like,
and a year ago, they maybe can't hurt me as much. If I'm in it and I'm raw, the chance of them hurting me goes up.
Yeah.
If it's a year ago, it's maybe not as tender. And then I can bring it up so they won't hurt me.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Totally. Because if I were to let them into what's going on currently, now I'm having to educate them. And then I feel like what I would need out of the whole thing is gone. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
They're no longer like actually seeing me and being like, oh man, I'm really sorry. That sucks. It's more just like, we're talking about like the logistics of IVF or something like that. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that.
Right.
That's not really what I want to talk about. But because there's no lack of awareness, that kept me from raising awareness.
So my second one is, this might take a little explaining because it might be like, wait,
I'm
what?
Ready. Okay.
Oh, you're ready? Okay.
Ready.
Because you feel one down.
Because you feel one down.
In your circles.
Wait, explain what you mean. What do you mean by one down?
If the thing that you're struggling with, if you are in a friend group or in family or whatever, and everyone has kids, it's really hard to be the thing to be like, well, all the thing that's bringing you so much joy or so much whatever is actually the thing that's making me sad. So it's just like you feel one down. You feel one down in your communities, in Target.
Like emotionally one down.
Emotionally one down.
Yeah.
Yeah, emotionally one down. Like you just feel like it's just hard to talk about the thing, especially if you're in a group, like I'm thinking like a group of friends that are all moms. That's hard to be like, you guys are all having joy over this and I'll go into these parks and whatever. I'm sad. It's just like, and I'm sad about the thing that you have.
Yeah.
Like, it's just hard to talk about. It's hard. It's just, it feels awkward. It feels awkward to bring that up and to be like, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm like trying to actually stay connected to you. And I want to hear about your kid, but I don't want to hear about your kid all the time. And I want you to see me too. Or maybe I don't really want to hear about your kid because hearing about your kid actually makes me sad. And I actually need some space. And I don't want to be at these park because all these kids are here, but I want to be invited because I don't want to be like, you don't see me or you don't love me or you just don't want to be around. Like, it's just, those are so many things to have to get over.
Sounds exhausting.
And I think that's why it's hard to make people aware. I also think that, and this is completely going off a random tangent, but that's what I do, is I think that's why people don't want to make those people aware because they think it's right around the corner that it will end.
Oh, right.
That it's like, I don't want to waste my energy making all these people aware of why I'm sad or what's going on, because hopefully next month it'll be fine and it'll all be fixed and then I'll be able to be at this party and park and it'll all go away and we'll be fine.
I'm getting like stressed out just hearing you talk about it.
Sorry. Or am I not?
Why is my heart rate going up?
Why did I have to say that fast? I don't know. Because that's what it feels like. Like, honestly.
You did power through that.
Yeah, but that's what's going on inside.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just intense. That's intense. And I think that added thing too that I said at the end of like, And also you think it will end.
Yeah.
So you think it will end next month, hopefully, or in 9 months, or the next round of IVF or whatever. So you almost, I'm like, I don't want to deal with this and make them all aware. I'll just join the club next month.
Yes.
I'll join the thing next month and I won't even have to deal with it.
I'm mostly concerned about like the psychological thing you said of like one down. Cause I think that's something that we talk about a lot.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot in our groups.
In our program, like in our groups. Yeah. And like the group, and especially the growth groups that we have and things like that, that there's a lot of like psychology happening there, that like there's this concept of mutuality and that like sometimes in life we feel like we're on mutual ground.
Yes.
Like we both deserve to be here at this party. You know what I mean? Like we got the same thing going on, or we're both on the same soccer team or volleyball team or something like that. And then all of a sudden there are times in life where we pop one down.
Yes.
And now we're like, I don't think I belong in this room anymore. You know?
Right.
I don't think I'm qualified to be here anymore. And I feel like there's not a better example than infertility. And I think that increases the reason why it's so hard to make people aware of it. Like you just don't feel like you even belong in the room. You know what I mean? Like people are talking about sleep schedules and
poop and
like waking up like, oh my gosh, I've had to wake up so much in the last couple nights. And you're like, that's literally all I want to do.
Yes.
I know it's hard and I know I'll complain or maybe I won't, or maybe I will.
Right.
That's all I want.
Right.
And I feel like if I bring it up, I like, now I've brought the whole mood down, or I don't belong in these conversations anymore. So how do you bring awareness about in a situation like that? That I feel like is a huge reason, being one down. That's what, going back to the beginning when we were like, why is it so hard to make the world aware? Maybe someone from the outside would say like, well, why doesn't the infertility community just advocate for themselves more? We all feel one down. We all feel like we're not even qualified to like hang out with our friend groups anymore. And now we're supposed to advocate. Right. It's so hard.
Right.
So hard. Right. Like like many people are struggling with like an emotional reality. That's more painful, you know?
Right.
It's not just like I have this like physical thing that's happening to me and all my friends have like rallied around me and they're like, we're all trying to like raise awareness about it. It's like, it directly affects your interpersonal relationships and makes you feel isolated. Right. So that's not a place where you're ever going to advocate from. Or maybe you are.
It would be hard to advocate.
It'd be hard to advocate from that spot. Right. That's just like that makes me frustrated. Mm-hmm. I feel frustrated.
I can tell. I love it.
My second reason why I feel like it's hard for awareness to happen, like why are people not aware about infertility?
Why is it so hard to make people aware of infertility?
Why is it so hard to make people aware of infertility? My second one is, I don't know, I feel like a weird one. And I know it's not true.
Really? You? Shocker.
I know it's not true, but okay, I'll say this. I'm just gonna be totally vulnerable and totally honest. Can I express to you, this actually comes out in the work that we do in the nonprofit that we run. So this is all part of a nonprofit. We're running process groups. We partner with clinics, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that right now. Part of what we do is fundraise. And we talk to people about donating to support the work that we're doing. This comes out in those conversations, I think, all the time. So like, it's a very real world thing for me of like, why is it hard to raise awareness? Why is it hard to make people aware? I sometimes fear that people don't think infertility is that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Isn't that like weird to think about?
Yeah.
And I think that's like, it's a fear that I have even in fundraising. Like as I go into a conversation, I'm like, I'm going to talk to these people right now about miscarriage, loss, infertility. And unless they have some kind of connection to it, my fear is that they're just going to be like, oh, yeah, it wasn't a big deal for me and my family. Right. The amount I've heard that.
I was going to say, and you've been told that flat to your face. The amount that I've heard, especially like fundraising, like grant conversations and stuff, people are like, well, we had the opposite problem. Yes. That's my favorite. It's like, oh, okay, great.
And I'm just like, I guess I should just leave. Like, what do I just like? This just feels fruitless now. Like, So that's like a huge fear, is that like, I am afraid that the people I'm talking to just won't think it's that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. They'll be like, oh yeah, they'll see the anxiety and depression rates that we put up. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Well, they'll see that it's absolutely crushingly difficult to go through. Your anxiety and depression rates are higher in every case than like all these things that get national attention all the time, which they should.
Right.
But it's up there with everything. Like they see that it's like hard on your marriage, that it's hard on like your understanding of meaning in life and all that kind of stuff. And they're kind of just like, well, I got pregnant.
Right.
And you're like,
right.
Cool.
And
I'm not trying to bash them. I really like, I get that it's hard to understand. All I'm saying is like, that's a reason why I think people aren't aware.
I think you're saying
they're just if you don't have an experience of it, they kind of just go, well, it wasn't very hard for me, or like, that seems rough.
I think you're exposing something that it's like the energy it takes to convince them that it's a big deal is a reason that we don't, and why is it hard to make people aware is because the energy it takes to make somebody aware of infertility, that it is existential, that it's loss of dreams, all this stuff is so hard. And that's hard to overcome and it's exhausting. Yeah. I mean, we've even talked about this. I didn't know you were going to bring this up, but here we are.
Just had to go there.
Here we are. I think we've even like to be vulnerable. Like we have even, me and you have talked a lot of like in fundraising for the infertility community and their mental health. It's like, sometimes it's hard to educate people that infertility is hard. Period. That's one hurdle.
Yeah.
Then that they need mental health support.
Right.
And that I don't want to say our way of doing it, like our way of doing it, but like with our process groups and with our podcast and with our whatever, how we're advocating for mental health and having them people that are struggling with infertility talk about their mental health.
Yeah.
That it's like almost like we have to jump through two hurdles.
We literally did a research study with a research university. It's published in a peer-reviewed journal. It said, I'll literally show them. It's like, look at like what people are going through. And I feel like even then people are like, oh yeah, it's tough.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great that you do that. But like, they don't really want to talk about it any more than that.
Right.
And I guess it's just not for everyone. But I think about like, as I'm in those meetings, I'm like, okay, I'm here trying to, do this, but imagine if this is like your uncle that you're talking to, you know what I mean? And you're going through infertility. Right. And you're talking to them about it and they're just like, oh, well, me and your aunt never struggled. And you're like, thanks. It's just like, of course, this is why it's so hard to talk about.
I think
like it just gives me grace. Like it gives me like, grace isn't the right word. It gives me like, compassion for our community. Yeah. This is just so hard to talk about.
But you're even experiencing it now, trying to raise money for Uniquely Knitted so we can continue on with our work and process groups. And you've almost hit the same thing.
Totally.
Where it's like, now I have to educate you this is a big deal. And then I have to educate you that they need mental health support.
Yeah. And I'm not currently going through like a fertility treatment right now.
Right.
Like if so many people are having to do that same level of advocacy while they're like trying to explain to their boss that they need like Thursday mornings off for the next 2 months. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until 10.
I think you're saying really that it takes a lot of energy. Why is it hard to make the world aware is because it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And you're already drained.
That's a better way to say everything I just said.
My next one is, it's kind of a twofold.
A two-parter.
And then I have one more. I have a lot of thoughts on this apparently. It's vulnerable to talk about. I know we kind of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean that it's like very vulnerable. Like if you're not struggling with infertility, which you might not be listening to this podcast, but if you're not struggling with infertility, think about the most vulnerable, tender thing to bring up in a group.
Right.
You might not want to do that.
Yeah.
And then, so super vulnerable, and then people say shitty things.
Yeah.
Dropped even my notes. You've heard of drop the mic? I just dropped my notes.
In light of you talking about the most vulnerable thing to you, people say incredibly insensitive things.
Can you imagine if someone said, I'm really sad and I'm struggling? I mean, I can't imagine because it's happened to me. You're saying you're sad, you're saying you're struggling, you're saying you're having a hard time, and people say something that it's your fault.
Right.
like it's your fault. That's what's happening.
It's like having like a giant wound from like you fell on your motorcycle or something like that. And then you guys like, do you want to see I fell? And someone's like, oh, I want to see. And then you show them and then they just poke it.
Yes.
And you're like, why would you do that?
They poke it and they say, it's your fault. You're like,
why would
how
you
is
do
that helpful at all to my injury now?
That only hurt more. Why would you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just really vulnerable and tender to share and talk about, and a little scary. Not a little, a lot scary. You're opening up this part of yourself. And then if you do muster the strength or whatever you want to take it to say it, you get shitty advice back.
Like, have you heard of taking a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in the morning?
Apple cider vinegar. Go on a vacation.
I don't even know if that's
have a glass of wine. Go here, do this. My cousin, twice removed that I don't talk to anymore, did this, And then it's like, it even goes on to other things of infertility. You have a surrogate. Someone's got comments on that. You adopt. Adopt is just, when you adopt, there's just so much of just like, you might as well just walk and be like, give me shitty comments on your shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just, that's, I think, a huge reason.
Yeah.
Why it's hard to make the world more aware is because it's really vulnerable. And if you do even just trickle truth, a little bit of the vulnerability, you just receive back things that are just really not helpful and make it worse.
Yeah.
That's it.
Vulnerability is always hard.
Yeah.
In and of itself.
It's
and
hard.
Then sort of like vulnerability in a harsh environment is even harder.
Yeah. If you're feeling one down and it's about sex and it takes a lot of energy and like all those things that we just said, it takes, so if you can break through all those and you're like, okay, I'm going to choose to be vulnerable, and you do, that's really hard just in itself. And then you get something back. Have you tried? At least it's not, and it's just like, well, now I feel worse. This
is why infertility is not.
It's hard to make people aware.
This is why it's hard to make people aware.
I think that has so much. I know.
You're just going to be throwing tissues away this entire episode. Your nose is getting, everything about your ears and your nose are just getting redder and redder.
It's funny because I don't feel bad. I'm so happy to be here. I love this subject and I love talking about this. It's my body is not cooperating, which reminds me of a season of my life. Whoops. Okay.
No, I agree. I just think this is why it's so hard. Like, one should give us compassion for everyone going through it.
Yeah.
And it should also give us compassion as a community as a whole, that stuff is really hard to talk about. It's hard to make people aware of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to advocate for it because you're just trying to survive it. And you're talking about this very vulnerable thing in the midst of a hostile environment.
And you think
it's crazy.
It's going to be over soon.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do this now and do all this work and energy and be vulnerable and hear these crappy comments back because it's almost over.
Yeah.
It's almost over. It's almost over.
Yeah.
And that's really hard when it's not over.
Right.
Or what if it keeps going?
Right.
You know?
Okay.
What's your last one?
My last one is that this is an actual traumatic period of your life. I think so.
Yes.
I think for many people, it graduates into like a pretty severely traumatic part of your life. Like there are we have heard stories that are crazy, that are just the saddest.
I've heard hundreds
of just like saddest, hardest stories ever.
Thousands probably at this point.
Thousands. Yeah. They're just so traumatic and so difficult. I don't think that you want to relive it. I think as soon as you're past it, you're like, I don't ever want to talk about that again. Obviously, we advocate for talking about it more and processing and healing from it. Even if you've processed and healed from it and that story is over, I don't think you like to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like maybe in hindsight, you're like, hey, this is really important. I care about this. I think a lot of people also are like, that was a really hard time for me. And I don't
want to think about it
anymore.
Yeah.
I want to move on to what's next. And maybe you do get pregnant after infertility. I want to focus on this now. Or maybe you don't. And you're like, I want to sort of embrace my new reality and my new life. And this was a traumatic period of my life. I want to leave that behind. And I think through like a lot of people's work and a lot of people's like effort, more people are sort of embracing it and processing it and like making other people aware of that.
Yeah.
But I think just in general, who wants to go back to this? You know,
right.
Like there's people I feel like we've been doing this for like 6 years now. And I feel like there's people that we meet who know us and they're like, I love you guys so much. And you were there for me. But there's also this like tone in their voice where you're like, I don't
never
want to ever think about you again.
It's so true. I don't take offense. Yeah. I'm like, I get it.
I don't
totally
take offense at all. It's like, thank you for being there for me. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to listen to your podcast again. I don't want to see your Instagram. Like
I unfollow. I do all the things. I get it. I
am ready to sort of like separate myself from the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because that was really hard for me.
Yeah.
So I think that
hard. Yeah. Traumatic.
It was very traumatic.
It can be very traumatic.
It can be very traumatic. And I think people are ready to separate. So I think why is it hard to make the world aware of all of this stuff? I think a lot of people who are going through it and a lot of people who have direct connections from it are ready to be done with it. Maybe you're like a grandparent and you have like your kid who's going through it. They maybe get pregnant after infertility or something like that. And you're like, okay, that season is over.
Right.
We're going to put it behind us now. And it's like, it's sort of like tucked back away. It has a very tucked back away feeling.
I've said this before. It's like junior high.
Yeah.
Infertility, junior high, same thing.
Same thing.
You want to leave it and never think about it again. Because it was traumatizing, at least for me. It was very traumatizing and you're so awkward. And it's just like, it's so hard. So I think it's just the same thing. It's like you want to move on and be like, oh, done. I don't want to think about you anymore.
Right.
Because it's painful to go back and think about that.
Then someone brings out that old picture of you.
And you're like, ugh. Right.
Like seventh grade PE. And you're like, oh God, I don't want to think about that anymore.
My haircut, I look like Gidget. I was like, it was so awkward.
That is a lot of what infertility is like.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the reasons why it's hard to make people aware of it is the people who go through it don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. It's really hard.
Here's my last one. And again, I know I want to say this of like, this is in no particular order because this one actually kind of seems, I don't know. It is a big deal. It was a big deal to me, but maybe it's not a big deal, as big a deal to somebody else.
I think it's a big deal.
You think it's a big deal?
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to make people aware is because you want to keep it a secret because you want to surprise people that you love that you're pregnant.
As simple as that. It's kind of as human as that. It's such a human experience. Like, I want to surprise my parents that I'm pregnant.
Yes. I want the moment. I want the Instagram moment.
Yeah.
I want to surprise people on Instagram. I have a cute picture thought. I want to surprise my parents. I want to surprise my friends. Like, and if you think about it, like, I think other people that aren't experiencing infertility would think like, oh, I had that. That's not a big deal. It's like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I feel like, okay, cool. Don't have it. How would you feel if you didn't have that part of your story? Right. You couldn't surprise people. Now everybody knows you're trying and you didn't have the,
I think surprising people is so tapped into what we thought pregnancy was going to be like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like everyone kind of has seen a video of someone
online
showing a pregnancy test, or whether it's online or just like something from your childhood of like, oh my gosh, they're pregnant. They kind of find out in this miraculous way, even telling your spouse or telling your family. They just feel like it's so deeply attached to what we thought pregnancy would be like.
Yeah.
I think we hold off telling people for a really long time to hold on to that picture we have of what pregnancy is like, you know?
I really wanted that feeling.
Yeah.
I think wanting to tell people was attached to a feeling.
Yeah.
I remember it was actually more of our adoptions, but our adoptions was around Christmas.
Yeah.
One that fell through. And I had this whole idea of how I wanted to tell my mom and my dad or whatever. And it's just gone. It just fell through. It's just gone. It's I was searching for that feeling to have that moment to be like, we are, and it is, and it's great. I think there is something, especially for me growing up, that I really wanted that. I really wanted that moment to happen. And it's really hard and sad when you don't have it. And I think some people on the outside might be like, that doesn't struggle with infertility, that's not big of a deal. And I'm like, why don't you have it then? It's you don't have it then. It's well, no, you want it, right? It feels really good, right? It's super fun and great and connecting with your people, right? It's like, right. Like imagine that not being there.
Yeah.
Like imagine that like you couldn't tell people and it couldn't be a surprise. And you couldn't just be like, we are pregnant, we were trying, whatever. Yeah. So I think that is another reason why it's really hard to make people aware. And you don't want to make people aware that you're struggling because you want the happiness and like you want the moment.
You don't want them to be aware.
Yes, right.
Because if they're aware, that means they know you're struggling.
Yes.
And that's not what you want people to know. You want people to know you're pregnant.
And they might then be like, especially if you're doing like an IUI or an IVF, like, oh, we got these embryos. Oh, now everyone's waiting to see if it worked. Oh, well, this is not going to be as exciting to be like, it worked. I mean,
you're not surprising people, you're updating people.
Yeah,
it's true.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is good.
You're not surprising people, you're updating people.
You're not surprising people, you're updating people. Put that on a t-shirt. How? I don't know if that would make sense on a t-shirt, but that's good. That is good. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You're updating people and then they all kind of know. And then they all like, is it? And then the worst is when it didn't work. And
there's a lot of joy in it working, of course. It just changes it. Just like, it's just the idea of like updating people is different than surprising them. I really like how you said you were holding out for a feeling.
I was holding out for a feeling.
You were holding back telling people because you wanted that feeling of surprising people. Yeah. And again, that's why it's hard to make people aware of what you're going through in fertility because you almost even don't want them to be.
Right. I don't know why this scene popped in my brain. This is the most random connection ever, but I think this is like so human. In Men in Black, the movie, Will Smith is watching Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Watch his wife or girlfriend or whatever. Yes. And he's like looking at her and watching her
from a satellite.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says something to him like, the Will Smith character says something like, oh, that must be easy or something, like kind of like making it like a joke of it or whatever. Like, oh, you can't talk to her. That must be so easy or whatever. And then Tommy Lee Jones looks at him and goes, try it. And I feel like his try it is like,
what is like,
can you even talk about Will Smith anymore?
I get what you're saying, but I don't think you are. The scene doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. People, does it make sense? It's like somebody maybe on the outside would make that scene.
You don't even really know what happened in the scene, the way you're describing.
He invalidates that it's
you know the punchline, but you don't know.
Yes. He validates somehow that he doesn't validate that it's like easy for him to like.
Must be easy for you.
Must be easy for you to not be with the person that you love or whatever, or just watch or something. But the way Tommy Lee Jones says, try it. It feels so human.
No, I know.
And I feel like that's it. Like somebody on the outside might be like, that's not that big of a deal to not surprise.
Yeah.
Like, aren't you just happy that you had the baby or whatever? And it's like, and it was a little bit like, try it.
Yeah.
Try it.
So you're saying that
all the people are going to understand
Tommy Lee
this.
Jones said try it has really stuck.
I really like that part of that movie because I feel like he's like human, or he's like, try it. Try just watching someone from afar and being in love with them and then not being able to be with them. Like, you know, like, and I feel like it's that, I mean, that's probably actually, there's probably so many infertility connections with that of like, you know, you have a miscarriage, you want to be with them, you can't be with them, whatever. But like, I think it's that like thing of like the world from afar might not think that that's that big of a deal, but go to the world and be like, okay, all of you stop doing that.
Yeah.
Try it.
All those pregnancy announcements that you did that were so fun.
That you loved.
Try not having those.
That you had probably 100 million more likes on Instagram than you've ever had on any post. Yeah. And you had that moment with your mom and you could cry and you felt this connection to her and whatever. Like, just try it. Try it. People are going to get this. They're going to get it. They're going to get it. They're going to get it.
To close this podcast, I would say that infertility is a massive
and there's
issue.
so many reasons. There's so many reasons why it's hard to make the world aware about infertility.
There's historical reasons. There's political reasons.
Right.
There's like the way religious that we've dealt with like gender and race and equality. Like there's so many reasons why fertility is not talked about enough. You know, I think day in, day out, the things that we talked about are huge.
Yeah.
Like why is it still so hard to make people aware of this? I think it's those things that we talked about.
Right.
That has to do with sex and it's awkward and you don't want to make people aware about it because you want to surprise them. And then when you do bring stuff up, it's awkward and difficult. And then a lot of people put a lot of the pressure on the people going through infertility to talk about it when they don't want to talk about it, because if they bring it up, now they're going to have to educate you, and they don't want to educate you. They're going through something really painful right now. So there's just this impossible situation that I feel like people are in going through infertility. I think my heart and hope for this episode is, one, that you feel validated, that it's hard for people. Like, why do people not know about this? There's major reasons.
Yes.
And you can like feel like you're not alone in that feeling. Like why does infertility lead to isolation? All of this.
Notes.
All of this.
Yeah.
You know, like, why would I be feeling so isolated? Like I feel so not myself. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. All of these things that we're talking about, you know?
And I think my encouragement would be, no one has to do anything with this podcast that they won't want to. They could just listen to it and hear it and be like, hell yeah, yes, yes, yes. But we're hoping that this maybe even could be a tool to help people be more aware that aren't aware. I'm not saying anyone has to do anything. I'm just saying like that, like maybe we can use this as a tool to be like, this is why. Yeah. Like send it to your family, send it to your friends, like that this is why it's so hard. Like that we could put into words of like why it is so hard, because that's a hard thing to break too, of like, now I'm going to talk about this with them. It's like, maybe just use us. We can talk. We can break the ice. We can break the ice of like,
just randomly text this to people.
Yes. Be like,
hey, I randomly heard this episode the other day.
Yeah. I randomly was like browsing through the internet, and this is but if you are having trouble with like making your family and friends aware and want to like help the world be more aware. Yeah. I'm not saying everyone has to do that. I'm just saying that like, this could be one of the ways is maybe sharing one of these sharing this podcast.
Yeah.
To be like, this is why everything that I'm feeling is in here. And this is why it's so hard.
My number one encouragement, if you've listened to this whole thing, would be to realize that the world doesn't necessarily have great conversations about infertility.
Right.
And especially mental health. That would be my biggest encouragement then, is to say, if that's true, how you care for yourself throughout this season is just so important.
Right.
Because it's possible that the world doesn't know how to care for you. It's possible that like your parents or your siblings, or if you go to church, like your church might not really know what to do with you. They're not even really aware of it.
Which is something to grieve.
Which is something to grieve, and also something to take into consideration when you're like, how are me and my spouse, or if you're married, or if like, how am I going to make it through this? Like, how am I going to, what version of myself am I going to be on the other side of this? You know?
Yeah.
If the world's not really aware of it, I should take that into consideration of like how I'm caring for myself. I think hopefully that is an encouragement to say, I deserve to be cared for. Yeah. I deserve to be like seen. Like someone needs to know who I am and be aware of me.
Right. If it can't be my world or my family or my friends, maybe it could be a process group or whatever. Our process groups, we have places for you.
Someone's got to be aware of you.
Yeah. Someone's got to be aware of you. That's good, Doug.
Like if the world can't do it, someone's got to do it. Someone's got to hold you through this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't just hold yourself.
Right.
You can't just be like, hug yourself.
What did Brennan
hug yourself for like 5 years? Like, it's just like really hard, you know?
What did Brennan Peterson say on one of our podcasts? He said the brain has a really hard time being alone.
Yeah. Oh, it through like
it doesn't problem solve well.
It doesn't problem solve on its own
by itself.
Well.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're working on the advocacy to get the world to understand infertility. Like we're doing it. Like we're trying our best to do that.
Would you say you're committed? I'm committed if you're committed.
I am uniquely committed. See what I did there? No, but like, I just wanted to like finish that thought of like, me and you are working really hard to get the world to understand infertility. I don't think everyone that leaves the infertility community is going to be an advocate, like I said, or should be, or need to be, or whatever. But I think, there are people out there that can be aware of you. Yeah. It just might not be your family. It might not be this. There is an infertility community that's ready to embrace you. Right. And ready to hear your story in our process groups. So there is places that are aware of what it feels like.
That's right.
Yeah. That have all these also other things and also hindrances in their life that is hard to talk about. There are people that are ready to be aware of you and are aware of what it feels like.
It's the beginning of National Infertility Awareness Week. Is there anything you want people to know about? What can they do? How can they get involved if they wanted to?
Trying to get this out. No, I feel like that's interesting that you brought up the thing about being uniquely committed. That was the thing that I was going to talk about I feel like if we could just be vulnerable for a second, like we haven't been vulnerable this entire time.
Please finally get vulnerable, Jesse. That's what I want.
Of just like, I don't want this to sound like, I don't know. I think my heart is, it's hard. The world doesn't understand infertility.
Jesse, just say what are you trying to say? Just say.
You know what I mean to caveat?
No caveat.
I love to caveat.
No caveat.
I love to caveat. I love to caveat. I love to be like, but I'm not really saying this, but I'm not really saying this. What am I actually saying? Who knows? Is that be uniquely committed is a way to get involved.
Yes.
It's a $5 a month.
Yes.
Club, if you will.
It's a monthly giving club.
It's a monthly giving club that we have. It's unique. It's called Uniquely Committed, and it's $5 a month, and it just helps us pursue our work of infertility and mental health.
It helps us spread the word of infertility and mental health.
It helps the world be more aware. Like if that is a desire of yours to be like, good Lord, why are people like infertility can't break this glass ceiling? Like thing, like this is a way to do it.
We take that money that's given in the Uniquely Committed, and we go to every hospital, clinic, therapist, doctor.
We haven't done it yet.
We go to a lot of churches. Yeah, that money is going towards that though.
Yes.
Like that money is going towards all these places that you go to, that there would be information about infertility and mental health, that like they would know that this is a real struggle. Right. And that hopefully over time that increases the awareness. Like that's our best effort to help. And $5 a month, it totally helps you. That is not what this podcast is about. But if you're like, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do, we would love to have you join us with that, because that's what we're doing. Being in that with us gives us so much encouragement, and you're part of the Uniquely Committed.
Yes,
part of the club, like of us doing this. Like I do think we have this opportunity to spread awareness. Although, like we've said a million times on this podcast, the people who are going through it are trying to survive.
Yes.
So hopefully this is an avenue where if you wanted to, you could. But if you don't want to, we love you just the same.
Of course.
We love you.
I think people at the infertility community could actually really understand this. It's not as easy to convince people, I don't know, convince is the right word, but like have people give to an infertility nonprofit about mental health that have not experienced it. I will say that. If I'm being as honest and vulnerable as I can be, just like how we said why it's hard to make people aware, it is also hard. We have talked about it many times of like making people aware that giving to an infertility nonprofit for mental health is so important and so great. Like if you haven't experienced, it is hard. It almost is a glass ceiling with people to make them understand and make them get it. Yeah. So I'm not saying that it's the infertility community's job to be the Uniquely Committed, but I would say that it is probably easier for someone that has experienced infertility to almost understand the Uniquely Committed and give to that $5 a month. I'm not saying everyone should do it. You'll see me caveating, since I love to caveat. I love to be like, but I like, it is like, and I think that is a vulnerable thing for us to even say. Yeah. Is that it is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to make people understand that an infertility nonprofit for mental health matters. And we're back at the videos, people. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you noticed. I'm saying if you're wherever you're watching this, you can also watch it on video. And you can see this. Wow. That was a feat. I was so glad I'm a part of that. That was a feat. I don't know how to end this, but part of me feels like, I don't know if anyone else feels this way. Should we do like the 90s, like walk off? I don't know if anyone else is feeling this way. I feel like I need to blow my nose. I'm not sick at all, but I feel like I'm like, do I feel stuffy? I think I've just listened to you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What are the freaking odds that we started filming our podcast again and I got a cold
It's kind of perfect for you, Jesse. You know,
it's not going to get me down though.
What are you going to be like when you don't have a cold? If this is your cold energy, what are you going to be?
I'm ready. I am ready.
Thank you for listening to the Infertility Feelings Podcast, a show produced by the nonprofit Uniquely Knitted. This is your place to process, cry, and laugh about infertility. We are so grateful for all of our amazing donors that we have who support our work. If you would like to learn more about how we serve the community and support the work of Uniquely Knitted, we encourage you to check out our website at uniquelyknitted.org.